Welcome back to the Now Morning Show. This morning, as we continue to celebrate International Men's Day, we have with us Jared Bennett, who is the CEO and founder of Body by Bennett TT, to speak about the importance of men's fitness and health and wellness as well. Good morning and welcome, Jared.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
And well, thank you. Thank you for joining us this morning. It's a pleasure to have you.
It's a pleasure being here.
And before we start, happy International Men's Day to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So let's talk a little bit about you before we get into the importance of men's health and fitness. I mean, you have a vast portfolio spanning the globe. How did you get into fitness?
Thankfully, my parents. I am fortunate to be from one of the meccas of sport in Trinidad and Tobago in general, but I'm from Point Fortin. My parents got me into sporting activities from a young age: swimming, football, cricket, you name it, table tennis. We always had competitions at home, so thankfully, yeah.
And I mean, that led you to compete all over the world as well in the realm of football.
Yes.
What was it like being a professional footballer? What
It's a
is it
dream
like,
come true,
rather?
To be very honest, I feel like I'm very fortunate as well, because the support that they gave me to actually pursue playing football, because not everyone is fortunate enough to pursue their dreams, but I was able to. So thanks to my parents, my family, my friends, supporting me throughout. It was a very fulfilling experience.
Would you say that your experience outside and coming back home was a positive contribution and benefited where you are today to create Body by Bennett TT?
Definitely.
Yeah.
A whole different lens, a whole different perspective I was able to see and experience, whether it be in Finland, Iceland, culturally very different. So there's a lot that I a lot to compare, but very similar at the same time. So.
Wonderful. So let's get into the conversation now. We're speaking about the importance of men's fitness, health and wellness. What would you say is the first thing that comes to mind when you hear that?
The normalization of staying active. I feel like we make it a big event or a big venture to start on a fitness journey, when really and truly it could start by taking a walk as opposed to taking the elevator. It's as simple as, I often like to say, it's as simple as brushing your teeth. You do it every day. Try to find some way of staying active every day by doing something simple. It doesn't have to be grand.
It's interesting, as you mentioned that, specifically taking the stairs instead of the elevator, because many times with mainstream media, we see these things. We do see them, I dare say, pointed towards women, right? We see that as the main audience. Why do you think that is, and how do we change that narrative?
Women, it's a tricky topic, because most of my clients, I'm a personal trainer as well, and most of my clients are women. It's a lot more difficult to tell men to stay active. So a lot of men, they have community through sport, let's say a football sweat, or just cycling, whatever the sport may be, that you may have taken up through your younger years. Some continue with it, some not. But some fall off due to responsibilities, life changes, whatever it is. And it's always tricky having conversations with men, but it's also normalizing it and finding a safe space outside of maybe the sporting activity, just actually acknowledging the fact that it will be beneficial in the latter parts of your life.
Definitely. All right. So just taking from that, as you mentioned, of course, like, taking a sweat, and I'm guessing, basketball, football, all these different things that we know men will do within communities itself. What about the spaces such as the gym, this sort of place? Do you see that as a positive influence on men's mental health and fitness as well?
Definitely. So men go to the gym for different reasons, but it's also nice to see. So I work through a space, and I've moved through many gym spaces, and it's predominantly women, but for men, it's so much to say about it, because so many topics. But I'm glad to. First, I would say for men in gym spaces. Sorry.
No, it's fine. Because, I mean, well, as you're collecting your thoughts, if I may, as you mentioned, men in gym spaces, we do see something that's not necessarily spoken about, which, again, we do see with a predominantly female view, which is some women do go and they're quite insecure. You even see people who say, well, I don't want to go because I don't want to be seen. And men suffer these same things. So how do we navigate that space for men to be comfortable in the gym? Like, what would you do if you had somebody come to you as a client and say that?
It's just making them comfortable as possible. Right. And what is your purpose? What's the intention? So checking your history, your health history, for instance. those are the reasons why some men enter the gym, just to look good, to feel good, in preparation for carnival, different reasons that men tend to find themselves in gym spaces, yeah.
Understood completely. What would your main recommendations be, aside from, you did say keeping it simple, but for men who are interested in starting the fitness journey, what would some of your main recommendations be to them?
Find something that you can make as sustainable as possible. So sustainability is big for me. So some people have grand ventures. They want to start on Monday and be going 4 days a week, 5 days a week, when really and truly having a sustainable 3 days a week, 2 days a week would make a big difference. And from there you could climb and start, and you never know where you could end up.
No, it's interesting you say that, because many times people come up with these grand ideas because they want results, and they want results instantly. So they're working out 5 to 7 days a week and not necessarily doing the sustainable 2 to 3. What recommendations would you have for them?
Be realistic. Be realistic, because at the end of it all is a journey. It's not a quick fix. And yes, we have seasonal periods where you'll find an influx of people in the gym and an influx of habits, new habits and new trends, which is all good. I encourage all trends, but finding what works for you. Maybe going to the savannah as opposed to the gym. Maybe just finding a different spaces in different ways that you could stay active is.
Should men look at different methods to fitness depending on age? And if so, what would your recommendations be for, let's say, ages 40 and up?
I encourage everyone to do some level of resistance training. So a lot of people think cardio is the number one. But cardio is good for cardiovascular health, yes. But for bone health, strength training is definitely necessary. So men, women, children, lift something. It's very much necessary, and it will help lengthen your life.
In your experience, from the sporting fraternity to being in the realm of fitness as well, have you seen those who actively participate in sport and in fitness, that they have a far more positive outlook on life, or far more emotionally balanced, and so much more?
Definitely. The discipline that comes with staying active, if you attribute that to all other aspects of your life, it will be so beneficial. And I've experienced it myself, and my friends and I, we often talk about it. So, yeah.
Discipline can be such a challenge, though. It's something that we were referencing a little bit earlier, speaking about, encouraging men to get fit and find that space. One of the things you said is that, well, not verbatim, of course, find something that you like and something that you enjoy. Is it feasible to not incorporate some sort of, let's say, weight training into life if you just can't and continue doing something you love, like a football sweat?
Yeah, again, it's so beneficial for the cardiovascular health and the community. So, on the topic of men as well, men, encouraging men, sharing their issues, and you never know, you could learn about yourself. And I think that the journey of learning about yourself is something that we don't talk about enough.
Yeah, we definitely don't talk about it enough, that's for sure. Now, what about the nutrition aspect of it? I know, of course, you will be focused on that.
Yes, so culturally it's kind of difficult. Culturally it's kind of difficult, so because our foods are generally, yes, protein-based, but a lot of carbohydrates. Right. And I often say to all my clients and friends, protein, making sure it's nice and balanced, staying hydrated at all times. And again, it does not have to be a grand venture of getting onto your journey and, okay, eating salad this week and making these sacrifices. Making it as normal as possible, as sustainable as possible, and just being aware of what you consume.
One of the things that you would have mentioned is you do have a lot of female clients. What about male clients? Do you see them coming to you, or do you think there's something that holds them back from coming forward?
Advising, I much rather advise men, because it's difficult for, I tend to realize it's difficult for men to come to men to ask them to train them. So for women, it's a lot easier because they appreciate the guidance, and they are a lot more vulnerable and comfortably vulnerable, whereas men, egos, they need to put aside their egos. Maybe they have some type of lack of confidence in how they look or how they feel. They looked a particular way 10 years ago compared to how they are now. So all of those things, just building a nest, building a comfort zone for most people. And I try to do that as much as possible. People always come to me with fitness questions, and I break it down as simply as this. Find something sustainable and enjoyable to take you through the rest of your life.
Jared, very briefly, before you give your message to Trinidad and Tobago, where can we reach you?
Social media, Jared Bennett is my full name. Facebook, Body by Ben TT on Instagram, and a gym space near you.
Okay, excellent. So, Jared, if you could kindly look at this camera right here and share your International Men's Day greeting with the world.
To all the men, we love you, we appreciate you. Thank you for being you. Continue to be role models, continue to take pride in how you carry yourself, and be an example.
Thank you so much. Body by Ben TT, Jared Bennett with us this morning. Stay tuned because coming up after this break, we're celebrating International Men's Day with some giveaways.
One thing me I pray, get my money and build my dreams. Rep for my city and fix